about you, Nakib? What's the situation in your school? Which subjects in English and which in your first language? And what about when they take the exams? Nakib, could you unmute yourself, please?
Yes, thank you, Chris, and thank you, everyone. Yes, my school is English medium school, and English is learned here not as a second language but as a third language, because most of the students speak Pashto and then they learn Urdu and then they move to English. But some private institutions in my city, they directly teach in English using Urdu as helping and supporting language. So we have exams in English language, and we have teaching in upper classes, in higher classes, mostly in English language, and the tests are also conducted in English language. So apart from two subjects, all our subjects are in English.
Okay, thank you very much, Nakib. So, Fatima, in your school, so your school has opted for Urdu for most of the subjects. So, if you did choose English as the medium of instruction, what kind of problems would you expect?
Yes, we have actually done the experiments few years back, like where my school opted English as a medium of instruction. So the problem we face that the language barrier, like I work in a semi-urban area where the students are able to understand even their second language, that is Urdu. Their first language is their mother language, like that is Punjabi. And so jumping from L1 to L3 is really a big challenge for us. Like we have to do a lot of work, and and I personally think it should be started from the earlier classes, like if we want to introduce English as a medium of instruction, so that there should be a strong base of the students, and they would be able to understand English properly, and then it will be easier for them to understand whatever the teachers teach to them. So language becomes a barrier between learning process and the teaching process, and due to these reasons we had to move on towards, because the teachers are untrained, honestly, because like we have less English teachers at our schools. And I think like I teach English at my school, and I'm the only teacher of English at my school. So how can I cater the needs of all the learners? And how can I can teach to my class only, but I cannot go for all the classes. So in this way, the decorum or the things cannot be changed only for my class. Like if I request my management that I want to opt English as a medium of instruction, so it is difficult for them, to arrange such kind of things. So, in conclusion, like first of all, training, number one. Number two, the English teachers. Like these two things are, like very difficult to handle. And then, of course, if we have these two things, then the learning process could be done in English easily. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great, Fatima. I like what you said about the language can become a barrier to the learning there. Okay. All right then. So, Nakib, you've heard Fatima talking about some of the problems she's having at her school and the reason why they don't opt into English. So, I'm just wondering, if you are going to sort of meet the challenge of content language integrated learning, do you have any students for, do you have any strategies for how you can structure the lesson, taking into account that the students are learning in their second or third language?
Yes, definitely. It is always very interesting and very fun learning when we teach according to the design of CLIL. CLIL is actually not a method, I believe. It is a kind of design. So different subjects we teach So how to make the strategies for teaching any subject. The first thing that I do, and we train our teachers to do, is to make a list of targeted vocabulary first, and then different grammatical structures are used, different tenses are used. We try to make a list of that as well. The words are about 10 to 15 for every lesson. So students first of all practice vocabulary, then they practice a little bit grammar that is used in that unit. So for example, it is science and the topic is living things and non-living things. So different examples of birds, pigeon, for example, pigeon is used in the unit, pigeon, stone, table for the examples of non-living things, and pigeons, dog, cat for the examples of living things. So the vocabulary is discussed first. Before we start the lesson, we discuss the vocabulary. Vocabulary is explained, then pair share is done of vocabulary. Different students ask each other and support each other. So then we move towards the lesson, and the points which are present inside the lesson, they are also explained and discussed. So meanwhile, when we have lessons to learn the content which is being explained to the students, different groups are made. Students talk about the different things. We divide unit into 4, 5, or 6 parts. It depends upon the length of the unit, how lengthy it is. So then students discuss the first part with each other. And we also try to integrate communicative activities during that lesson. So it is always very fun. And then students also share different reasons when they talk about one thing which is present, and why the way they explain like that, that is also that also has some reasons that is explained, and it is very fun learning.
Okay, that's great. Thanks very much, Nakib. So you said after like the first unit, then the students will discuss amongst themselves. So will they be talking in English, or will they be talking in Pashto, or is it like up to them?
And no, students will talk to each other. They will explain in English, not in Pashto and other language.
Okay, great. I really like your idea about sort of having a list of what the targeted vocabulary for the lesson are. I think that's very important, and you could even have like a translation ready for each word that's necessary for the lesson. Okay. Another strategy which I've heard of is using a lot more pictures and diagrams in the lesson, you know, so even if students don't know the word, they can understand what's going on. All right, wonderful.